clown man himself has come out and actually made comments about offensive linemen. We're going to go through this article real quick. Then I'm going to show you guys some things just to kind of set the record straight, so to speak, when we talk about a situation like this. It says here, Browns Jadeveon Clowney. So it's so fitting for the Clowney part of his name, his last name being Clowney, that he would make a clownish statement like he did. But he says, Browns Jadeveon Clowney comments on playing inside, gives NFL guards great bulletin board material. Well, the Browns signed Jadeveon Clowney to a 1-year, $8 million contract in April. They envisioned him thriving alongside all-pro defensive end Myles Garrett and causing all sorts of problems for opposing quarterbacks. It was a low-risk, high-reward addition for a team that is hoping to build off its run to the AFC divisional round. Cleveland plans on moving both Clowney and Garrett around on the defensive line, occasionally featuring them on the interior. Clowney understands playing inside requires a different mindset. True. But he doesn't sound too concerned about facing guards instead of tackles. Let me get this thing straight. This thing is bothering me. All right. This is the statement that he said. He said, "We love the matchup," Clowney said during his Thursday media availability. We feel like they're the unathletic guys, the guard position. They're not really real athletes down there. So they're just physical and maulers. But we try to get in there and create those matchups for certain guys, and hopefully, we get some wins. Okay, so at face value, I guess you could say that he's taking shots at offensive guards. I mean, clearly he's putting it out there that he doesn't believe that offensive guards are athletic. But I certainly, through my career, in all my games, always looked forward to when defensive ends would come inside. Pause. So look, you got to look at it like this. Defensive ends come inside. When I'm in a game and a defensive end, I mean, I've gone against guys like Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, who've come into the interior line in 2-minute situations. And honestly, it's much easier when I get defensive ends who can't come in to pass rush from the inside, because these guys don't know what they're doing. These guys are kind of lost because it's a different game on the inside than it is on the outside. And to a certain extent, he is right. We get to maul you a little bit on the inside, but it's not even really about mauling you, because the physicality is one thing, the size difference is another, and the confined space is ultimately where defensive ends kind of lose the advantage. There's not a lot of space to work with. So when you're in a situation like that, there tends to be a lot of defensive ends who kind of get stuck on the inside. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had that situation, and it really took, I wouldn't say minimal effort, but it wasn't like I was trying to stop, a big burly 300-pounder. It wasn't like I was actually having trouble keeping him from moving around. As soon as you get your hands on them, which oddly enough, on the interior of the line, they tend to not really use the athleticism that they have to try and get an advantage in pass rush. You get your hands on them, and from there, it's just a matter of leverage. And they don't know how to get off of leverage for the most part, at least in my experience, playing against defensive ends in the NFL. So, but if you don't want to believe me, of course, there's evidence, because the internet is always and forever undefeated. And here we have an example of just that. And I'm going to run this little clip, and then I'm going to break it down for you like I do, because it is actually juxtaposed to everything that Jadeveon Clowney just said. And like I said, it makes him look like a clown to come out and say something when there is video evidence like this out there in the world for everyone to see. Jadeveon Clowney, Quentin Nelson.
Snake, are you okay? Snake? Snake!
I think the video evidence speaks for itself. He's getting dominated. He's getting out-muscled. He's getting out-athletic. I don't even know what word to say with that. His athleticism is completely nullified by Quentin Nelson's athleticism. He tries to do what you do on the outside to somebody on the inside who has good feet, who has good hands, who has great strength, and he gets dominated. So let's bring this back just a little bit. Just a little bit. RESPCT. Find out what it means to me. So, I mean, first step, obviously, again, look, on the inside, it's a different game. There's not a wide area for him to work with to the outside. He has to face up Quentin Nelson head up. He has to actually engage head up. There is no sweep the edge, get around the edge, dip a shoulder. That's not happening in here. And you see, he tries to get a little cross. I mean, and come on, let's remember this. Over the last 2 seasons, Jadeveon Clowney has averaged 1.5 sacks. So you can even start there, and that's enough for anybody who is thinking about giving credence to what he's saying. That's enough for them to think again, because this isn't somebody who's actually even been able to expose any offensive tackles over the last 2 seasons, much less guards. And the moment he comes inside, I like what Quentin Nelson, he's got his feet on the ground. I mean, this is shit resolution, obviously, but I can see what's going on. I know what's going on here. He's got his feet on the ground. He starts with his hands a little low, but as soon as Jadeveon gets in range, boom, he shoots his hands. Now, he is trying to get inside, so he has to react to this. He plants that left foot in the ground, and he pushes off and starts to redirect. Now, he's not going flat down the line, but he's also not turning his hips, which, if you've been paying attention to my breakdowns on offensive line technique, that is what gets a lot of tackles and a lot of guards in trouble when they get beaten pass protection, is they open the hip and it allows for a free run or easier access to the quarterback for the defender. Right here, he sinks it. He's actually pushing his hips forward to flatten Jadeveon from getting any further penetration. Jadeveon tries to do a jump hop. That's another move you would do on the outside. He tries to jump off the edge to turn his hips. No, look at where Quentin Nelson's hands are. His hands are inside. Jadeveon Clowney's hands are outside. He has no leverage whatsoever. He is completely handled right now. And what does Quentin Nelson do? He continues to push his hips, run his feet, and now just watch the whole house of cards come crumbling down, because step by step, he just literally pancakes Jadeveon Clowney into the ground. He actually ran him through he came through so powerful with this pancake that he almost did a front flip. He almost did a front flip. And look, Clowney is trying to kick him. That's somebody who's mad. He's mad. He's trying to kick him. This is all you need to see to disregard the ludicrous statement that Jadeveon Clowney has made about playing on the inside with the big boys. This is drill work with no pads, wearing helmets, so it must be around OTAs or maybe early in training camp. But let's take a look. This is a simple enough drill. You see defensive ends go through this all the time. They swipe the hands, they go through, they knock the pads to the side. You gotta move your feet, you gotta pick up your feet, you gotta be athletic. Let's take a look at Jadeveon Clowney as he displays for the world to see his amazing athleticism. Next. Look at this. Pick your feet up, son. Oh, man. Now, this isn't for me to sit here and say that he is not an athlete, but what the point of this is that when you want to stand up and talk shit, you should know that there's film of you doing something goofy. There's film of you looking bad. And that goes for any player in any sport, in any situation. Somebody can find film of you looking unathletic, of you looking like somebody who doesn't really have a clue. And here we go. Jadeveon Clowney. Going through the pads, gets tripped up, gets stuck, can't even get his feet up to save himself from falling. That's what we call unathletic. That the first thing your coach will say to you there, and I've seen this before, the first thing your coach will say to you there is, hey, be an athlete, be an athlete, be an athlete. So, Jadeveon Clowney should think twice before making these kind of statements to make himself look foolish. The interior line it's phone booth warfare. It's close quarters combat. So if you're coming in there, you better come with a plan, because if you don't, get your head knocked off.